job, but there's a couple unknowns. So the pond isn't very deep and it's real mucky, so half the canopy is kind of underground basically. So it's going to be kind of interesting to pull that out of there if it's even possible. And then the tree is kind of down on a bank, so I can't get my skid steer down there, so I'm gonna have to set up some rigging pulleys and kind of winch it up over this bank so I could then load my dump trailer and hopefully do that without completely destroying my customer's lawn, which would be the goal. But short of bringing a crane in, there's not really a great way to go about it, so I'm gonna have to kind of problem solve this one. Here we got this tree that is kind of stuck in the pond here, and pretty steep bank here, so getting the machine down here is pretty difficult. So my plan is to put a pulley up in this tree and then redirect it to another pulley down on this tree to kind of distribute the force more evenly on this stem, and then pull logs up this bank. And I'll put some mats down to try to save the lawn, but also use a couple in here as kind of like flotation. But so half the canopy is underground here, so I'm kind of curious if when I start cutting it off, the piece will just kind of stay afloat rather than dropping down. There might be enough underground to kind of keep it upright, which would be cool. One log done. It went pretty well, so we'll see how the next one goes. Log number 2 is done. I think I'm gonna go for a bigger log this time. So earlier I was kind of curious if there was enough canopy underground in this pond to hold this log up, and it looks like there was. Pretty cool. So the trick will be getting the canopy out of the ground. It may or may not be possible. I told the customer if I can't get it out, I'll kind of flush cut everything and it'll decay pretty quick. So now it's just a question as to whether my truck will pull this out of the pond. It's pretty stuck in here, so I have low expectations. Turns out I was able to pull everything out of the swamp. Here's the finished product.
And I've got my mats laying in the sun to dry out while I go dump the firewood logs. That was a cool project. Not super complicated, but there were some unknowns, and luckily I was able to get it all done. Yeah, and I should show you the kind of the extent of the turf damage. It's not too bad. There's really no ruts, but I kind of maybe tore up the moss a little bit, but that was you know, part of the deal. We set the expectations for that when I did the quote. So yeah, it's pretty minimal for what we got done here. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.